Welcome back to the show, everybody. It's Thursday Tier Talk, and that means only one thing. The dynamic duo are back. The Batman and Robin of football are back on your screens. Myself and the Dazzler. How are you, pal?
Just trying to work my way out how to show that I'm the Batman, obviously, yeah. Just throw that out there. I watched or I saw that thing on Facebook today. I don't know whether you've ever seen it, where this kid goes to school dressed as Superman. And the teacher's like, "Oh, why do you like Superman so much?" And he was like, "Oh, my uncle's Superman." And the teacher's like, "Oh, well, Superman's not real," and blah, blah. Goes through the whole rigmarole. Kids like crying. Kids like, "My uncle is Superman," blah, blah. Anyway, kid gets sent to the secretary's office because he won't let go of this, right? Next day, his uncle Henry drops him to school. I was like, this is absolutely something one of my kids would do, by the way. You know, my dad's Batman. And like, just real cool, not say a word. And everyone like, no, he's not. And they'd be like, "Dad, you go and tell them you're Batman. Like, tell them." So funny, man. Brody thought at one stage, because I was Batman, that was part of his name. So he was Brody Batman McCummsky.
Kids are deadly that way, aren't they? They're so good.
Look at that, man. Isn't that fucking great?
Absolutely.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
you can't beat that shit, can you?
No, not at all. Well, listen, we have a good show tonight. Plenty to talk about. We got our Premier League preview. We got our Beat the Bookie. We got the latest news. Hope you liked the thumbnail. Did especially for you this week. The Qatari boys with the United crest.
I just see there's more coming across the Sky Sports news screen.
Absolutely.
Apparently, there's the Qatari royal family. Sources close to them say there's a bid imminent.
Yeah, I know. We will be talking about it. It's on the list. Don't worry. Not necessarily
Back the truck
up. not necessarily what the Glazers want, but they might have to take it. But we shall see anyway. So should be fun.
So
anyway.
We're gonna take Frankie De Jong, and we're gonna take Harry Kane, and we'll probably take Ansu Fati as well, and we'll have a nice keeper, and we'll have no, we don't want Mbappe. Anyone that wants that much control over.
They give you Mbappe on a loan move. They won't even have to sell him to you.
Matrix. They'd be like, "Oh, well, we have to fall into line with the Qatari royal family, obviously." So,
Absolutely. Eno's in the comments, as always. What's the crack, Niall? How are you, Eno? Good to have you on board. He was on earlier as well. I did do a Merseyside derby preview for my sins. But we will talk about it as part of our Premier League.
You're a glutton for punishment, I think is the word.
I am. I keep on rocking up. I keep on banging on the door. Eventually I'll kick it in. And again, it's Daz O'Clock, ladies and gentlemen. Get in there, you good fella. Absolutely.
Thanks, pal. Love that.
Tell me. Ian's concerned about where everyone is. Everyone's here, Ian. We're here. We're on your screens. That's all you should want. They'll all jump on now, shortly. Don't worry, Ian. You won't be left on your own. So strap yourselves in. We've about an hour ahead on this show, roughly. Grab yourself a brew. I have a nice brew here on This Is Anfield.
Have we ever managed to get in and out in an hour? I don't think we have we?
Tonight might be different.
I talk too much.
We shall see.
I talk too much. This is the problem.
Right.
I have hour-long lessons in the club that last an hour and 15 minutes because I can't stop talking. So,
5 minutes of tennis and 55 minutes of mentality training in the club.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Right, let's begin with our Premier League preview. Right, and we start off West Ham versus Chelsea.
Yeah, Chelsea just can't catch a break at the minute, can they? We went out looking for goals last weekend in that Chelsea-Fulham game, and there wasn't too many around, obviously. I think it was good to see them keep a clean sheet if you're a Chelsea fan. There hasn't been lots of them going around. But I still think they looked a side, that weren't necessarily firing on all cylinders just yet. Lots of guys still finding their position in the team. Tell you what I did like. I did like the little axis in midfield with Enzo Fernandez and Conor Gallagher. I did like that. I was a fan of that. That was one of the things I looked at and I thought, you know what, this works. I like this. Enzo was very, very happy to just sit, take control of the game and pop the ball off. And he was more than happy to allow Gallagher to do the running, shall we say. and really press and push high and, drive with the ball and stuff like that and be a little more creative. And I thought this works well. Two guys of a really, really good age for Chelsea fans. If they could put some sort of a pairing together, that would sort out a serious issue in their squad, which would be that midfield role at the minute.
Yeah, we often turn around and say, don't we, the great players don't necessarily clock up the mileage, but only put in the mileage to have an impression on the game, as they say.
Absolutely, yeah.
Very,
Now,
very
it was just he was just very clever. Just sat in the pocket and just took control, looked for the ball, played the double pivot, opened out, tried to get the ball to somebody who he perceived had a better opportunity to maybe get further forward and stuff like that. And you just thought, this is nice, this is tidy. Didn't try to be too expansive with it. It was just really simple. And I think at times, players can try a little bit too hard to impress, especially when they've got big price tags around their neck. Fernandez didn't look like that. He just looked really calm in there, I had to say.
It was kind of like Graham, this is what we do down in Benfica.
yeah, it was good. West Ham obviously off the back of a good result away at Newcastle, and that's a huge result for West Ham, and they'll be looking to try and keep that ball rolling this weekend, obviously, because they're not in a great position at the minute. West Ham, they do need to pick up wins wherever they can, and home games will be crucial to them getting higher up that table. I am going to say 1-1 on this one.
1-1. Yeah. Sounds about right. Sounds about right. Here's one that's going to divide us slightly, I'd imagine. Arsenal versus Brentford.
Well, I don't know if it will divide us. I
suppose I should have said divide us from the chat.
Well, yeah, maybe. Brentford obviously with a great win last weekend, home against Southampton. They just really make that community stadium at Brentford so intimidating to go into, and they play the game at such a speed with such press and stuff like that. They just really fluster teams into making mistakes, and invariably that's what happens. I suppose the only surprise from last weekend was we didn't see an Ivan Toney goal. But other than that, it was Brentford 1-1. Arsenal, on the other hand, obviously got Ginger Mourinho out, didn't they? Down at Goodison. Gotta say, I thought they were very poor. If you think of the game, and I spoke to Morris obviously about this, Jordan Pickford barely touched the ball.
Yeah.
And you would have made the assumption that pre-game, if Everton were going to go out and win that game 1-0, Jordan Pickford was 110% going to be man of the match. And that was not the case. Now, there was some great defensive performances and some really good performances in midfield, I felt. I thought the boy Onana, who we've talked about a couple of times, he's super athletic, gets around the pitch really, really well. I know I've heard stuff during the week where Deutsch is going to get him to do a bit of work with Stephen Defoe, who's obviously part of that coaching setup. He's obviously an ex-Belgian international. The boy Onana is a Belgian international. And he basically said he needs to up his fitness levels, but he also needs to understand that just running around isn't enough at times, that you've got to be a little bit smarter and a little bit wiser, Defoe was a nice footballer himself, so I think it could be something very beneficial there for Everton, But Arsenal, I think Arsenal are going to need to try and, pick up again this weekend. They don't want to leave too many points out there on the road, knowing that both Manchester clubs aren't miles away, let's say. Albeit neither of us are in unbelievable form, I still think they'll just want to keep getting 3 points, moving on, 3, move on, 3, move on. I think this could be tough, though. I really do. Because I think Brentford, they're very, very capable. I think Arsenal may, with the defeat at Everton, just start questioning themselves a little bit, and I think that could be trouble if they do. I'm going to go Arsenal, but I'm going to go very close 2-1 with a late winner for the Gunners.
Okay, interesting. I think looking at Everton, I mean, even looking at Seamus Coleman's performance last week, he was outstanding. A guy that we've kind of both moved on from greatly, but he had a really good game last week as well. Got stuck in and really played that captain's role. But I think you're right on this one. This is kind of when you think about it, when you've come back after a game like that last week, the last team you want to be facing is a Brentford team at the moment that are humming under Thomas Frank. So this could be a difficult one. I could see this one being a draw.
This is a gut check. This is a gut check. This is check your pants, lads. If you've shat yourself, we're in trouble. If you haven't, we'll just about, you know what I mean? That's what this is for me.
This is title credentials time.
Absolutely. What does your boy Klopp say? Mentality monsters. Well, we're about to find out what kind of mentality Arsenal have. They lost to United earlier in the season. They were able to start on a roll from then, and they kept things moving. You know, they've been very, very good. It'll be interesting to see how they cope after the defeat last weekend.
Yeah, interesting. Palace versus Brighton.
Yeah, I suppose Palace. This is actually a derby. Did you know? Did you know this was a derby?
I did.
These are I might have mentioned that before, did I? These are the closely linked to each other. I think there's a section of motorway or something that joins the two of them, and the Brighton fans have it in for the Palace fans and vice versa. Now I don't think it's too vociferous, let's say, but I think Palace are struggling at the minute. Really, really struggling for goals, struggling for clean sheets, and we say all the time, if you're shipping them and you're not scoring them, you're going to be in trouble. I think Palace need this result way more than Brighton. I think Brighton obviously got a great win last weekend. My friend Mitomo with a header away at our home against Bournemouth very late in the day, which was great because got a few nice points from him from the fantasy football. But I see this being a real tough day at the office for Palace again. Got to be honest. I think Brighton will have an awful lot of the football, and I think if Palace aren't right at it from the minute go, it's gonna be tough. I'm just gonna go 2-1 Brighton on this one.
Interesting. Take a few comments. Acers, Victor Osimhen would be a better option for United as Kane is too injury prone. I don't know. I wouldn't say he's overly injury prone. He's had a couple of injuries, all right, but he's been pretty consistent.
Well, he's got the glass ankles a little bit, hasn't he? I think if money's not an option, you probably go for the boy Osimhen. But the issue is at Napoli there, he's 70 million worth. They paid for him. So I mean, what's it gonna take to get him out of Napoli? It's gonna be over 100 million. Easily.
Yeah, I read the owner there yesterday went down and actually said he ain't going nowhere, apparently. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Now listen, at times again that can be the throw it on the table for me and let me see what you have. But listen, I think Kane for me would be a great option, but I do think the boy Osimhen would be a really, really good option. He's a serious footballer, this kid.
Absolutely. And Morris is in there. Check out GP Productions podcast. He had one James Ellsworth on live last night for a Q&A. It was really, really good. Myself and Ian were in the chat on it. Thoughts on the rock-solid centre-back partnership of Man United conceding the same number of goals as Liverpool to date in the Premier League? Thoughts, Darren?
Didn't know it was a thing. I did know that actually Liverpool and Everton have conceded the same number of goals. Did you know that?
So now there's three of us. Now we've a three.
Now there's three of us. Yeah, Everton obviously been very, very goal shy, but at times weren't shipping loads. And I knew only from last weekend that Liverpool and Everton were level on goals conceded. Obviously, Liverpool have scored more, therefore they're higher up the league because they've got more points. But I didn't know United were there as well. I think obviously with a rough start, 6 goals first 2 games. Which throws things slightly. We obviously took a bit of a pacing at Villa. We conceded 3 at Arsenal. So, yeah, I could see how that could happen. Thankfully, we're scoring goals and we're in games. And the thing I like most about it is that Morris is still, even after beating us last week, looking over his shoulder at us, because if he wasn't, he wouldn't be coming out with comments like that.
Absolutely. And listen, I'd be quite happy to have the Butcher in my team on Monday night if he was available.
I bet you would.
Think about it. Acer's back in the comments as well. European Super League back again. Yeah, we're going to be talking about that in a bit. Don't make no mistake about that. WWE announced SmackDown on June the 30th in the O2 Arena and Money in the Bank. Yeah, absolutely. We're supposed to be heading to that, Acers.
We sure are.
And a few lads.
Provided we can get tickets.
We'll get tickets. Don't worry about
This
that.
could be a stumbling block.
Arsenal Brentford be a very tight game. We did thump them away though. Yeah, absolutely. And Warren's in. How are you, Warren? Good to see you, my man. Check out Warren's Team Talk. Great shows on Saturday. Darren, you might be interested as well. He's covering the Six Nations as well this year. So you could be
Nice.
Darren. Just to let you know, Warren, Darren is a big rugby fan. Big rugby fan.
Sure am.
So we're all good. And Eno's there. Shout out to everyone again on the chat. Absolutely. And Warren's back
Thanks,
in.
Eno.
It's the M23 Derby, Darren. There you go.
That's
straight
it.
From the
there you go.
Mouth. Absolutely.
There you go. Good man, Warren. Thanks.
Warren, don't forget, give us your prediction for the Arsenal game. Drop it in there. In that good goon.
Is Warren in the UK?
He is. He's based in the UK.
Okay,
yeah,
perfect.
Absolutely. Yeah, we are going to try maybe and get him over though if we do that charity game before the summer. That's the talk. The boys are going to try and bring him over, so it should be a bit of crack and we'll go out on the beer or whatever.
Lovely.
Acers, the minute United have been sold would be so funny seeing Dazzler doing Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Jeffrey wins lottery money dance. Absolutely.
Might not be the only thing that I do with the Qatari royal family boys, I won't lie.
Oh, I tell you, lads. Talking about nearly getting cancelled. And Warren's back in. 2-0 to the Arsenal, he's predicting. 2-0 to the Arsenal. And
that'd be a great day at the office for Arsenal. A win, couple of goals and a clean sheet would be unbelievable.
Yeah, and especially I think both you, City and United, you're both playing Sunday, isn't it? I think. Is it Sunday for your game, or am I wrong?
Yeah, we're the live game on Sunday, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. An agent Unai Emery to do cities.
Just don't tell me wife, because that means we can't go anywhere. But shh, don't tell her.
Just order in. Fulham versus Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, listen, this will be a good game, won't it? Forest obviously at home there at the Cottage, playing some unbelievable football under Marco Silva. I watched a little piece on Fulham earlier on, I did, and quite a few what you would call quiet performers. You know, you've obviously got Mitrovic and you've got like Andreas Pereira, who are two of the bigger lights, but I heard a lot of talk about how good, and Morris might not like listen to this, how good Bernd Leno has been for them this year.
Yeah.
It was a Fulham fan himself. He was saying, you know what, the signing of Bernd Leno was tremendous for us. He's been very good. And the boy Harrison Reed in midfield as well, very good. And another guy we've mentioned a few times, Paulinho in the centre, has been absolutely top class. He did mention he doesn't know how long the boy Paulinho will be around though, because apparently already the Sharks are circling.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, we have to talk about Willian, who's been outstanding this season.
Will.i.am from the Bridge. He was at the Bridge last week, tormenting Reece James and tormenting Cesar Azpilicueta. He was very, very good, I have to say.
What are you going for here?
Forest have been good, man. They really have under Steve Cooper. They don't tend to score an awful lot of goals, though, especially away from home. They're nicking games. You see, last weekend, they kind of took a drubbing to Leeds and won the game 1-0. Keylor Navas, obviously, with man of the match, and you're thinking, how did he get out of jail there, you know? You know, I'll go 1-1 on it. Let's go 1-1. Yeah, I'm sitting on the fence. I'm going to have a spiky arse tonight.
Absolutely. Leicester versus Tottenham.
See, last week, I wouldn't have had a thought here. Right, I'd have been like, these are two shit football teams. I don't care. It'll be a dull, boring draw. Then Spurs, you know, go and turn over City. And Leicester put 4 past Villa away from home and get a win. And now all of a sudden I'm thinking, this could be a good game of ball here. And Leicester obviously still precariously close to the bottom of the league. Need to pick up points. I think last week will be a huge result for them, obviously mentally, and you know, building that confidence and stuff like that to kind of kick on now between now and the end of the season. I think there'll be goals here. That's the one thing I will say, because I think Leicester cannot score, Spurs can score, and I don't think either of them are great at the back. Spurs are going to be without Hugo Lloris now for the next 8 to 10 weeks as well. That just came out during the week. So with Fraser Foster at the back here, I think we could see some goals here. And I'm going to say, you ready for this?
It sounds like an upset incoming.
3-2 to Spurs. but goals galore.
That's not what I was expecting. Yeah, but this could be.
I feel like this is going to be goals. Yeah, this is money. Harry Kane going back to that. Going back where he used to play for Leicester on loan. Remember, they were one of the clubs he was out on loan for in the Championship. So he'll enjoy going back there to that crisp ball, won't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Where are we? Let's catch up here. Acers. Easy, Darren. Just give the missus the credit card. Nah, you don't want to be doing that. I nearly missed the game before I do that. And Warren's back in. He has 2 junctions from the M23 junction off the M25. There you go, Darren. We can Google map that later and pinpoint Warren's location. Acers is in both to score in all matches. Easy money. Easy money, both to score in all matches.
Every game so far?
Yeah, I presume that's what he's saying. Yeah, so you have West Ham, Chelsea, Arsenal, Brentford, Palace, Brighton.
Is he going for all 10? He's hardly going for all 10, is he?
Well, maybe he's going for all 10. We've only gone through, 5 or 6 so far, so maybe.
Jesus. Acer, just hit us up and let us know there, will you? Are you talking about all 20 teams in the league to score this weekend? Because that'd be big bucks.
Absolutely. And Warren's back in. He reckons Leicester 2, Spurs 1. And Eno,
Stranger Things.
Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Warren. I am in Seven Oaks, lads. Seven Oaks. Is that familiar to you, Darren?
Not overly.
And Acers are saying yes, he's gone for all games, all teams to score. That'll pay serious wage, I'd say. And Ted joins us. Ted joins us from Retrotainment and Retrotainment Recast. Check out his channel, doing some good stuff up there. I think dropped a recast the other day there from Hercules, the animated one, I think. So check that out. Pretty good. And Spurs, he thinks for 3-0 to Spurs, I think.
Yeah, I think Spurs will win it, but I think there'll be goals. I really do. Yeah. Spurs don't fill me with confidence when they're defending. Absolutely none of them there. I got to be honest with you.
Ted reckons 7 Oaks, that's between 6 Oaks and 8 Oaks, isn't it?
Probably not far wrong if we're honest.
Not messing about with that. Can see Wolves, Forest and Palace causing problems with that bet.
You can see Wolves causing problems with that bet?
As in, he reckons with the Southampton Wolves game, both teams might not score.
If he means both teams, but if he's singling out Wolves,
I think he's talking about
being a bit... Maybe.
They had no problem scoring last week.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I was like, they just put you boys to the sword, and they've been good under Lopetegui.
Ian reckons 2-1 to the Spurs.
Yeah, I think 3-2 Spurs. Got to be honest. Let's hit the Southampton game up, will we?
Yeah, and Warren first of all. John Hollins used to live near me, and Jeff Proben. There we go. Southampton versus Wolves.
Nathan Jones had a big speech after the game last weekend and said he's had to compromise some of his tactics and some of his game plan, and that we were going to see something different. We need to see something different because if we don't, Southampton are down. Now there's been a huge investment into that squad of Southampton between last summer and the January transfer window. I don't believe Southampton can afford to go down because if they do, they've got a hefty lot of wages to pay and some big transfer fees. So unless they were coming straight back, there could be trouble there at Southampton. Wolves, I think this is ideal for Wolves. I think all the pressure is on Southampton here. Wolves have picked up a couple of good wins in the last few weeks. And with Southampton having to come out and try and press and try and play, Wolves might be able to pick them off the back. We know the boy Adama even got an assist last week to add to his running. I'm looking heavily at Wolves here. Got to be honest. This is a game I think if I was having a bet and I was looking for some odds, Wolves are definitely a team I'd be looking at this weekend. Along with probably Spurs away at Leicester and Brighton away at Palace. And maybe ourselves away at Leeds. Like there's 4 away teams. You're going to get some reasonable odds on that. You know what I'm saying? I think Wolves will do this all day long, and I'm going to go 3-1 Wolves.
I presume James Ward-Prowse with the Saints goal.
Might be, you know.
Yeah, Bournemouth versus Newcastle.
Eddie Howe going back to his old stomping ground here at the Vitality. This should be good. Bournemouth put up a great fight last week. We're very, very unlucky to lose out to Brighton. I know we talked about it on Monday night. A lot of people thought Bournemouth should have had a penalty in the first half. Me personally, I didn't. I didn't think it was a. I thought it was a foul, but I didn't think it was a penalty. If that makes sense. They'll need a really good performance this week to stop Eddie Howe and Newcastle getting back on track from last week's draw. I think it'll be very, very tough. I expect to see a little more of Anthony Gordon this weekend. I thought he was very good when he came on last weekend. And I'm going to go for Newcastle to sneak this 2-1.
Okay. Ted's in the comments. He reckons Wolves. He says Wolves won 2-0 last week. Sure. Yeah, so I heard.
Yeah.
Warren's in. He's gone for a 1-1 in the Southampton Wolves game. And Acers, how was Dean Douglas' fingernails on chalkboard live stream last night? Yeah, it was a good live stream. He did okay. And Ted is going for a Wolves 1-0, I think. Where are we? Leeds versus Man United.
Redemption. This will be redemption for me. I was in work last night and missed the start of the game. Got the message on my watch to say 1-0 after a minute. I'm like, you're actually joking me here. Like, driving home, still not home. Second goal goes in, 2-0. I'm just thinking, are you actually joking me here? Like, I'm like 2-0 at home against Leeds. I had this nailed on. Now, don't forget, I've been talking a big game when we came into Leeds for the last few weeks, and I was saying to you, these are due performance. They're playing well. They just can't get over the line. They batter Forest the weekend, lose the game 1-0, and I'm thinking, all right, we should be able to take them out. They go 2-0 up, and you're just like, oh my God. The keeper Meslier decides to have another one of those games like he had at Anfield that night when he picked you boys off. He's making save after save. Sabitzer, Garnacho, and the header from Varane. I'm just like, man, give us a break here. Obviously, to get back into it and get the point was great, but it's still 2 points dropped when you lose at home. But I think the difficult thing for us last night was not knowing, what kind of a Leeds were going to show up and what kind of patterns of play they were going to play, because obviously they've been without Jesse Marsh for a few days now. So there would have been team talk and tactics, and that's exactly what caught us out in the Villa game, because that was Emery's first game back, don't forget. And there was a few things that kind of came under the radar. Villa did it to us, beat us comfortably that day. We were able to get the draw out of Leeds. We won't be caught out this Sunday, and we'll get over the line. And I'm going to go 3-1 Man United.
Yeah, it's interesting the somewhat drop off from the midfield, isn't it, when you don't have Casemiro? But I mean, it's not.
Oh, listen,
either. He's world class.
No, he's our best. He's our best midfielder. He's been so good for us this season. I got really, really annoyed last night when I was on my way home. The second goal went in. I was like, this is all down to Casemiro's red card at the weekend. And I'm like, this is a red. Again, me personally, I don't think it was a red. I'm like this isn't a red. Now, because the decision's been made, we've been punished, and this guy has to sit in the shelf, and Leeds are picking the bones of us. I'm like, this is so avoidable. Do you know? Really frustrating, I got to say.
This is so wrong. I can imagine you in the car.
On my own, by the way. Having a full conversation. And the worst part was I had my earphones on, right? And they're completely noise cancelling. So I couldn't even fucking hear what I was saying to myself. It gets worse, man. It really gets worse. I'm not joking you.
Ted in the comments reckons 3-1 Newcastle against Bournemouth. And Warren's back in at Poker Gambit. Laugh out loud. That's what Bobby Charlton said when I met him and Jimmy Hill, who both had a skinful. Oh, God, can you imagine? Ian's in 2-0 Man United, he reckons.
I don't know about the clean sheet. That's the only thing. I'll give them one because I think they've got a lot going on up there now up that neck of the woods, Leeds. I thought the boy Nanto we've spoken about him for a few weeks. I really like the kid. He's a full Italian international. Took his goal very well last night. Even if Bruno was fucking, I don't know, washing his hair or something.
Yeah. Acer's not a Fred is starting and Bruno cop ball watching.
Everyone knows how big a fan I am of Fred. Everybody knows. I am, Fred's biggest fan, probably. And he was so poor last night. Like, he really was. I rewatched the game and I was like, oh my God, I was like, how difficult is it to knock that roundy thing to a bloke 10 yards away from you in a red jersey? Like a fucking, a vibrating light there. Just hit it to him. Couldn't do it 10 yards. I was like, man alive.
He was missing his international team, mate. That's what I'm
He
talking
sure
about.
was, yeah. He
Warren's
sure
in.
was.
Reckons 2-1 to Leeds. 2-1 to Leeds. Interesting.
I used to like you, Warren.
You can imagine, wouldn't that be the case where like Brentford go and maybe beat Arsenal or draw with them, and then you have that opportunity and you don't take, usual door half open type thing,
Well, I mean, we got that at the weekend. We obviously picked up the win on the weekend, which was great, and everyone else kind of against Palace, everyone else fell down, and now you're looking us at home against Leeds to go and ram it home and just get a little bit closer. And then you draw and you're like, Jesus Christ. We'll have to have a look.
Marta's back in. Both teams have only scored twice in 9 of Wolves' 21 games. That's what I'm saying. Oh, okay. Yeah, I get you now.
Okay.
And Ted's back in. I reckon Dazzler's right here. I think we'll deal with them, but I think 2-1 United.
Good man, Tedward.
Yeah, I think this could end up being very like the Palace game where you kind of have to see it out, but you might have the metal to do it.
You know what? I actually think, I don't think the keeper can have 2 games as good as he had in a row, and I think that's what saves us. Do you know what I mean? Like, he was so good the other night. He really was. I'm just not expecting him to be unbelievable. Now, I know the Sancho goal is a little bit of a giveaway, but I'm just not expecting him to be as unbelievable at home this weekend. Leeds are going to come with the crowd behind them. You'd have to hope we can just pick them off as they bring waves forward like that,
And Ian's in the comments, Jimmy Hill, old Shinny, God bless him, such a proper legend.
Sure was. Big Mr. Fulham, wasn't he?
No, each to their own opinion. Right. Man City versus Aston Villa. Man City in a spot of bother at the moment.
Man City in lots of bother on and off the pitch. It's difficult viewing if you're a Man City fan at the minute, I would imagine. Villa, though, I expected so much from them last week against Leicester. And to be absolutely put to the sword the way they were, I'd say Emre was absolutely... What's happening here? If I press something? I have pressed something.
No, you're all good.
Hang on. I'm all good. There we go. I'd say Emre was absolutely perplexed at the end of that game, losing 4-2 at home to a team like Leicester, whose results have been dreadful this season. I can see them being much tighter. I can see them putting a good performance in, but I can still see City just picking them off. Just getting over the line. Nothing spectacular. 2-1 City. A dogfight. Another tough game at the office for City and for Villa. Villa with a plucky performance, but not getting that now with this, I don't think.
Morris back in the comments. With that Meslier in goals, you have a chance. He's a shite keeper. I think that's very unfair. I think he's a very good keeper. I think he has a couple of stockings.
He's absolutely looking to wind us up with that. 100%. That's bait. That's 100%. Bait. I ain't biting on that, Morris. You're good, but you're not that good, pal. Only one heel in the building.
And Ted reckons another Haaland hat-trick incoming.
Other than the Haaland hat-trick incoming, there's the wife incoming. Good evening, wife.
And Warren's in the comments as well. Man City 1, Aston Villa 2. Thinks there'll be an upset at the weekend. Villa picking up the points.
He's got high hopes there, Warren, hasn't he?
Yeah.
High hopes.
And then we round out the week with Monday Night Football. Liverpool.
Sorry, I'm just making noise with my wife here. Hang on. Good evening. How are you? You come here often?
Thursday Love Island.
Thursday Love Island, yeah, that's it.
Liverpool versus Everton, Merseyside derby, 8 o'clock Anfield on Monday night.
The only thing I think about this game is I hope they play it in the dark so we don't have to see it. Because I just think it's going to be horrible to watch. Dyche is going out to absolutely spoil this as a game of football. Let's not beat around the bush here. Yeah. He'll possibly have 2 banks of 5 and a goalkeeper. And this will just be, can we get through 90 minutes without conceding? And is there any chance Tarkowski and any of the boys can bang a header in from a set piece like last weekend. This is Sean Dyche 101.
Yeah, I said actually in the preview that I was nearly more excited about Dyche and Klopp getting into a knock on the sideline than I was about the match.
Right,
But
because
I
we know
think
that's coming as well, don't forget.
100%. But I called it a 2-2 draw.
Can you just come here before I go up? Thanks. You called it a 2-2 draw. I'm gonna go 1-1. She's afraid of being seen on the camera. Come over this way, will you? Will you just turn off the heat in the place like a bleeding sauna? Like a sauna. I had to take me. We're lucky I'm not down to skins at this stage. The house is
Morris.
actually like the tropics.
Yeah, I think it's better cold outside. It's better
It ain't cold in
outside.
here. Look at my face, man. I'm fucking glowing.
Love it. And Morris reckons Hugo Lloris understudy, and Warren reckons 1-0 to Everton on Monday night. That would be an absolute disaster. And
another disaster.
Acer's back in the comments. Get into Champions League and Europa League games. Yeah. And Ian's back in. Down with that sort of thing, Daz. Down with that sort of thing. Right. So that's our Premier League preview. Of course, if you want a Merseyside one, it's up there as well. I did it earlier this evening. So let's talk football.
Was it the Merseyside or the Misery side derby? Which one?
It was the Misery side.
Yeah, I bet it was.
Both teams playing that high D press.
Oh, God. Fuck, you know. 2 banks of 5 against each other. Nosebleed section. Oh, no.
I'll be shocked if both managers don't have a punch up and there isn't players stretchered off during this game and everything, you know.
It'll be feisty, all right.
Ted said he missed the discussion on Forest, but what was Stazler thinking of Navas as the keeper? He was very good on the weekend. He was outstanding.
He was excellent. It's going to be... I kind of had in my head, Ted, thought about the fact that we're going to make a solid 30 million off Forest in the summer for Dean Henderson. And now, obviously, the boy Navas has come in. Now, listen, he's only come in on loan. But he'd be a hell of a lot cheaper to get out of PSG than Henderson would United. Now, listen, maybe our friend Hugo Lloris might be doing us a favour here because not only has he been dog shit, now he's injured. You know, Antonio Conte might decide I need a goalkeeper and he may just look towards Dean Henderson and he might help us get out of jail and get 30 million out of that kid, which would be tremendous.
Warren reckons Dazzler's necking the Jamisons.
I wish I was, man.
Fruit juice tonight, I think.
No, I'm a Jameson man, Warren, but not tonight, pal. It's way too warm in here.
And Acer's looking forward to PSG versus Bayern on Tuesday. Yeah, that's going to be a cracking game.
Be great to see a real football club with some history. Bayern knocked those absolute parasites out, wouldn't it?
Yeah, they could be soon up for sale if what we're going to talk about now comes true potentially. So we're going to start. There's nowhere else to start with the news tonight, is there, but this Qatari situation with Manchester United. Apparently, I read tonight, or I was listening tonight, 5 bids have been lodged so far, and apparently Qatar are looking at paying 5 billion. They're not willing to pay the 6 billion that the Glazers want. Thoughts on what you've been hearing?
I'm not overly fussed on what it goes for, if I'm brutally honest. I think, you know, they've kind of put a figure on it at 6 billion. We know this is an overinflated price. I think most people will surmise that 6 billion is more than what the club is worth, given some of the current issues at the club, least of all the stadium and the training ground and stuff like that. So there's a bit of work to be done there. We know Manchester United's a cash cow. The Glazers have lived off it for, you know, a number of years now on their interest payments and stuff like that. So we know the club is very, very self-sufficient. It will need some work into the infrastructure and stuff like that. But I think 6 billion's a stretch in the grand scheme of things. I think somewhere between 5 and 5.5 will probably be what it goes for. Apparently, one of the Qatari bids was going to blow everyone else out of the water. Now, they're not blowing anyone out of the water at 5 billion. So somebody somewhere is playing poker. Because if I'm going in to blow people out of the water, I'm going with 6. Because I know at 5.5, there'll be interested parties because they'll see value in that club. And I just think, for me right now, it doesn't really you know, it doesn't pay much to me to worry about what it goes for. I would be more interested in who it goes to and what their ideas are with going forward and stuff like that.
Yeah, Morris is saying, isn't the problem that they won't clear the debt? I'll be honest with you. This takeover or sale or whatever it is, if the agreement in there is not to clear the debt, I'd be surprised if the Premier League or whatever let it go ahead. I think that has to be cleared. They know that was a huge mistake initially.
The debt's absolutely being cleared. That's not
100%.
100%. And the type of people that are coming to the table with this, they're not people that are going to live off debt. They're people that have the money there to, to make sure that the club is self-sufficient rather than, them having to put money into the club because they're servicing a debt. That makes no sense.
Yeah, Ian reckons rumour has it that Paul Romer's done with wrestling. He's set to try his luck with soccer. Not a chance. If you're saying that man run the ropes, he's no chance of being a baller. Acer's back in. Camels have been on standby in Manchester for Qatar Boys United. Oh, there'll be I mean,
but listen, I won't lie, and I'm not lying when I say this. I will happily march to Old Trafford on the first day of next season in my Arab dress or my Qatari dress with my tea towel, my jersey underneath it, and my white trout, whatever I need to do. I don't mind this at all. This is absolutely fine with me. I'm going to watch, the bones of what I have, and Frankie de Jong and in Kane or Osimhen, and maybe a new keeper and a right back, a few bits and pieces. I'm buying into it, all into it.
I visions of you next season sitting there on one of those black couches like Crown Jewel watching the matches.
God, man, you know how close I am to that pitch anyway. So if we could get some comfy seats, it's the one thing I will tell you. The seats in Old Trafford, not that they're uncomfortable, but boy, are they small.
I think it's interesting.
They are small seats, man.
I reckon the joy of getting the Glazers out the door will nearly be as big as the joy of getting a new owner in with that type of wealth.
Absolutely. You hear people say, better the devil you know. I don't think in this particular instance that stands up very well, though. Yeah,
absolutely. Warren Delboy is going to put in a €7 bid for United. And how are you, Ian? And Ted is back in as well. I think it'll go for 5.5 when all is said and done, and that'll be the debt cleared.
Absolutely. That's exactly where I think it's going, man. I think we're going about 5.5 billion, and I think we're going debt cleared, self-sufficient club, and then a couple of nice sponsorship deals, a couple of those good Manchester City sponsorship deals to get a few extra quid in the coffers for for a nice little war chest for our boy Eric Ten Hag.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Gotta say though, in the grand scheme of things, this is a great time for us to be taking over. We haven't been in as good a position on the pitch in a number of years with the way we're playing, with the way the squad is being built. We're having a manager in there who looks like he has an idea and a grasp on what he's trying to do. Like if we can make a change or two here in the off season, a striker, an extra midfielder, maybe another centre back, a couple of other players, 4 to 5 players in there, we're in the mix up next season. Absolutely. And this would be unbelievable. Possibly Champions League football back at Old Trafford, which I would be a huge fan of. I've got to be honest, it's my favourite competition by a country mile.
We've been missing you.
It's been when something's like when it's like your favourite.
Yeah.
At the start of the Champions League game when the kids stand in the centre circle and they shake the Champions League football and the music comes on and the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. I'm all in. At that stage, ask me anything, I'm all in. And when you don't have that, it makes you want it even more. I think I'll never get back there for a Tuesday or a Wednesday night under them lights for that. I really don't. It's just...
Do you know what I'm thinking? What I'm thinking is, do you know what would be really cool if they did take it over? Let's suppose the bid is 5 million and they go to, or 5 billion and they go to 5.6, and they say to the Glazers, but you have to clear the debt. Imagine the Glazers having to clear off that 600 million with the 0.6. It'd be the real parting shot, really, wouldn't it? Because that would stick in them, even though they're getting the 5 billion.
Imagine, and imagine what that would do to the fans, especially fans who are, let's say, anti-Glazer. I mean, you know what I mean? That would be a really, really big babyface move. and that would put you in good stead with the whole fan base. That would bury a lot of this stuff, human rights and stuff like that. That would absolutely bury that, completely bury it. Be a great move.
Bury not being a great word to be using.
Well,
Acers in the comments. Qatar Airways is already on the new kit. I think if Man United have any sense, they'd be staying away from airlines as a sponsorship if this week is on the go, boy. I don't know if you've seen some of these emails floating.
I haven't.
Good Lord.
Well, I mean, we know the deal with Team Viewers up anyway. So we need a new sponsor either way. Yeah. What it brings, who knows? Qatari Airways, would I take it? Absolutely, I'd take it. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, even the logo for Team Viewer as well is kind of crappy in it as well. Like it's basic.
Shite. I like the stylistic writing. The Qatari Airways one. That's quite nice. That'd do me down to the ground.
And Morris back in the comments. I want to see Jinder McCumsky. You will see Jinder McCumsky.
Don't forget, Jinder's an Indian. We're going for Qataris. It's different, Morris.
And he's
don't hinder Jinder.
He's Darren's long lost brother. We might have a new addition to the podcast.
Absolutely.
We might pull an Elias on it or something like that. It's a different way. We'll alternate the weeks.
Split screens in another corner of the room. Hi, I'm. Hey, how you doing?
Quality. And Acers in. Man City outcome will be 4 years from now.
I heard that today. They said it's going to be an absolute bare minimum of 2 years, but possibly up to 4. If that's true, we should just stop. We should just stop stuff now because this is an absolute joke, a joke.
Absolutely.
If they have to wait 4 years for their punishment, what's the point of it? What is the point?
And the thing about it is, if it is a fine and a points deduction, surely the likes of yourselves, if you're taking over, or Newcastle or whatever it is, should turn around and go, right, well, I'm all in. I'm going to win a bunch of trophies for the next 10 years. And in 10 years' time, you can slap me on the hand if you want. It's all good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I really, in this situation, funny enough, I really feel for the Arsenal lads, because imagine City go on and win the league this year and Arsenal don't. They come second. It's a horrible situation, isn't it?
Sure is.
Yeah, Acers has come back again. Tiger Ali, I presume he meant ALI. Tiger Ali.
He did.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, do you know what? If this Qatari takeover happens, what we'll do is we'll have to put up a prize of a cap or a shirt or a mug or something. Who comes
for the best name.
The best McCumsky Qatari name, and we'll go with that for future reference.
Absolutely.
Ted's in the comments. Can we use the Qatar money to make a cloning machine and make more Casemiro? There's only one Casemiro. There's only room for one. If Paul Roma can sabotage a wrestling match, just think what he'll cause out on the field on his first few games. He ain't causing nothing. Mansour McCumsky. I like that one.
No, listen.
Very good.
That's
Ted.
the best of them right now.
Yeah, that's very
good. Man,
good.
Ted. Yeah, very good.
Ian's in the comments with Tinder Jinder. Interesting. So yeah,
not sure if the wife will like that one.
Absolutely. What else had I got in mind there? There was something else I want to talk about. So we spoke about Qatar and Man United. We spoke about Hugo Lloris being out with the knee injury for up to 8 to 10 weeks.
I won't lie, I think it's a blessing. He's been so poor. He really has. And I would say in the last couple of years, I've heard a lot of people saying, oh, Lloris, he's this, he's that. Hugo Lloris at one stage was a top goalkeeper, but he is declining rapidly. Really, really is. I think Spurs need to move on this. I don't think Fraser Forster is a number one in that Premier League, not for a team like Spurs. And I think in the summer they're going to need to go and remedy this. They really will.
Yeah, absolutely. Morris reckons we need to get a woman on the show to celebrate the deal. Not a problem. Happy to have anyone on. And Ted's back in. Wives, plural for you, Mansour. And Warren's back in as well. What will happen if City ownership sell the club before the punishment can be imposed?
They're still getting rimmed.
Yeah, I don't think.
No matter who owns it.
This is retrospective regardless. And
Absolutely.
Morris back in. Lloris is like
And
the check we got from Chelsea.
100%. Yeah, he sure is. Or the William Gallas he got from Chelsea. It was the same gig, wasn't it? Played under Jose, looked like he was, Marcel Desailly and Paolo Maldini. And then he played under, Wenger at bleeding Arsenal. He looked like he was related to bleeding Tyrone Mings. Jesus Christ.
Wanted to get your thoughts on Belgium appointing the new manager, Domenico Tedesco.
Yeah.
37 years of age. Probably sounds to me like probably the youngest international manager out there at the moment, I would imagine, which isn't a bad thing.
Right up there.
But plenty of experience with Schalke, Spartak Moscow, and RB Leipzig. Thoughts?
I think it's a really bold move, but I think it could be a move that pays off for Belgium. Like, we looked at, obviously, the Belgian national squad in the summer. At one stage, they were talked about as the golden generation and stuff like that. And then you put Martinez in there, and he just absolutely spoils it. He was so poor as Belgium. For my money, this is my opinion only, I thought he was really poor. I think with the players that he had at his disposal at one stage, the Hazards, the Lukakus, the Witzels, the De Bruynes, the Castañas, the centre-backs for Tonga.
Definitely should have reaped more, yeah.
The fact he didn't win, a trophy or at least get to a final, for me, is really poor. And here's the thing, because I know a lot of people at times will talk about, Gareth Southgate, he's this, he's that, right? Got England to a European final, right? Got England to a European final. It's got England to, a quarter-final and a semi-final in the World Cup. Now, he knows how to get teams through competitive tournaments. Martinez didn't give me that kind of a feeling off him. He just didn't give me the vibes. I think Tedesco was a great appointment. Young, a very inventive sort of manager. He's going to bring a lot of new ideas to that Belgian team. And again, Belgium still have some great players coming through. The boy Onana at Everton, the boy Jeremy Doku, Lukaku's still relatively young. Thibaut Courtois, Kevin De Bruyne. These guys aren't past it by any shape or form. There is a couple of reshuffles needed. Obviously, Hazard's probably going to step out. We need a couple of centre-backs. You're not winning a European Championship or a World Cup with Vertonghen, Boyata, or Jason Denier. You're not winning that with them lads. They're not good enough. So they need to look at this again. But there's a lot of good footballers coming out of Belgium year on year. We look at how many that are getting moved to the Premier League and the Championship and stuff, and then they may be taking a step up. So lots of good footballers there for him to work with. I think he'll do a sterling job.
Yeah, absolutely. Ted back in. Emi Martinez will be going to Spurs, I'd say, if they're replacing Lloris.
Maybe.
Take a few quid to get him out of there as well. And Warren, 100%, Osler, you're spot on, mate. And Ian is back in. Remember, back in the day, you'd normally see some woman streaking across the pitch in the middle of a game.
When the lads all had their hot dogs in their hands.
No bun, please. I want to talk to you about the Super League. Super League has raised its head again today. I saw a quote earlier, and I thought it was very good. And it was obviously someone from another league, and they said, "We can do this without the English teams. Give it a fucking try if you wanted to fail on its knees, you absolute plank." What a stupid statement. I'm not really have an opinion. I haven't formed an opinion about the Super League really, but where I did form an opinion today, which I thought was very interesting, a lot of the content being created today out there on YouTube and various platforms was about how greedy this move is from a money point of view. And I was thinking, the Premier League, full of greed. That's why it was formed. The Champions League, UEFA, full of greed and looking to instigate even more teams, more matches, more TV stuff. FIFA, riddled with greed. And I'm thinking...
Riddled.
You can't.
We
You
want
can't.
we want a World Cup every 3 years now, so we can
Yeah.
cash in quicker.
But
You know,
I was thinking, whatever about your thoughts on it in terms of additional games or the format or how it's going to go or stuff like that, and various locations around the world and the amount of travel teams might have to do and stuff like that. I'm all in on those conversations. But if you're going to start the conversation with me about the European Super League and start with the word greed, then I check out with you straight away, because that argument holds absolutely no water with me whatsoever. And that was the
absolutely.
main narrative today from people, that this is a move of greed. And I was there going, do your history, boys. What are you talking
Well, I
about?
mean, it's it's something that the people are going to get the shovel out with and scoop out of the way fairly quickly, isn't it? You're right. The Premier League was started with greed in mind, television rights. More money for the clubs, more money for the players, more money for everybody sitting at that table.
Mm.
For Sky themselves, and Sky were heavily involved with the setting up of that Premier League because they knew they were getting the deal to it. Obviously, over the last number of years, the Sky deal has been watered down. We can now see games on beIN Sports and BT Sports and Premier Sports and Now Sports and whatever sports you have.
Amazon Fire Stick.
Is that right? You know what I mean? So then we games on Amazon. So this whole thing rolls, and everyone now is. So at one stage, don't forget, that Sky pie was really big. That Sky pie was the whole damn pie. Now they've only got a piece of the pie, and they're still doing all right because the pie is so big, right?
Still huge.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I've spoken about the television rights thing before, because I do believe we're not a million miles away from this, and I know a lot of people think it's a bit pie in the sky, pardon the pun, but I firmly believe we're going to be buying our club channel soon. And your club channel will show your games regardless of the competition you're in. So if I pay for the Man United channel for the year, I get 38 league games. I get the Carabao, the FA Cup, and the Europa, or whatever European competition we're in, and I get all of them included in it. And the deal works out then that if we're playing Barcelona, we give the service to the Barca fans when we're at home, and they give to us when they're at home. So you would trade home and away games and stuff like that. And that way the money then ends up with the club rather than just the media stations. Now listen, they don't want this to happen, because this would be a huge hit in their pockets. But from the club's point of view, this is an unbelievable make. This was unbelievable. It's a 12-month rolling subscription, so that you don't check out in the summer for a couple of months, that they can keep the money coming in. You pay at the start of the year, whatever you pay, and then you pay again the same time next year, like you would with a Disney Plus or something like that. And then they create content in the background to fill up the channel when it's not being used for live games, like the type of things I get on my Man United app on my phone and stuff like that, I think that's the way it's going to go.
Sure, we're probably not that far away from bigger squads and no breaks. Let's be honest here.
Well, I'll tell you what I think we could. And when you spoke about this earlier, I think we could be close to the same sort of thing that happens in rugby, which is nations will try to give centralised contracts to certain players. And what will happen is England could be playing on, a Saturday afternoon at home against Germany in a World Cup qualifier, and we could have league games on a Sunday with a completely different set of players. And this runs across the league, which is what happens in rugby. You can have Leinster play a day out from Ireland. That's quite normal. They play in a different competition, whatever. The Leinster players are involved in the Ireland game, don't play for their province. And when they're not involved, they go back and they play their club football, say, with a province and stuff. This works very well in rugby. It's something I could see happening in football, if I'm honest.
Yeah, you'd have to build up a serious squad, though, wouldn't you? Really, when you think
you'd have to build up a squad. Well, the one thing it does do is it allows clubs to rely a lot heavier on their youth systems. So in the likes of Leinster are blooding young players all the time. Now, actually, Leinster blood them, and what happens is the better players then go and take the spots of the lads who play in the national team, and the guys who are at the national team shuffle back down the pack into the Leinster squad. So you end up having a shorter international career, but you still would play games for your club before it, games for your club after it, and stuff like that. You know what I mean? That's where you would make your big money, but a lot of the pride would be playing in the international games and the tournaments and stuff like that.
Yeah, interesting concept, all right.
And
Absolutely.
with a lot of, and obviously with the rugby, something that they have is, and I know, it's not a given in all countries, but in a lot of countries it is. If you don't play in your own country, you're not allowed to represent the international team. So if I'm a German international, I need to be playing in the Bundesliga. If I'm a Spanish international, I need to be playing in La Liga. If I'm a Spanish international that plays in England, I can't then represent Spain. This is how rugby works.
Though I don't think that'd work. That wouldn't work in our game. I can't see it working. You'd have to have. I suppose maybe you'd have to have some sort of agreement in relation to like Scotland, England, Wales, and Ireland, and Northern Ireland. Probably you'd have to have something like that home nations type stuff. You'd have to sort out something, because if you think about it, look, we'd have no international team.
Well, what it does is it strengthens everyone's individual leagues. Yeah, because at the minute you can't get picked to play in the Ireland squad unless you play for Ulster, Munster, Connacht, or Leinster. If you play for any of the UK teams, Saracens, Wasps, Leicester, anyone like that, you can't be selected. So they make that choice, but they make the choice based on the fact they're going there for bigger money.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting.
Listen, it's a completely different way of looking at it.
Mm.
It's something else that's being done out there in a sport, which is very physical. Like,
it kind of means
football.
You could be potentially getting punished for exploring the open market, wouldn't you? Which is kind of it's an interesting concept, because what happens is, let's suppose a big team comes in the UK and wants to sign you, and you go out there and it's big money or whatever it is. Or we've seen some of the Irish boys have gone to France for big money and stuff like that. And then you're
Zebo wasn't eligible to play for Ireland when he was over in France. He's now eligible again because he's back at Munster.
Yeah. But it's interesting the way that works, isn't it? Because if you think about it, if you're dealing within the EU and the open market and all that kind of thing, it's a tough rule, isn't it? Really, I can see why they do it, but it's
there was three All Blacks players this week, Bowden Barrett, Aaron Smith, and Brodie Retallick, who have all signed deals to play with Japanese clubs in 2024. Now, this is a huge money spinner for the lads, but that signals the end of their All Black career. They will now no longer represent the All Blacks because their contracts won't be owned by New Zealand clubs.
How does that work for the smaller nations then, though? Like, let's say you're talking about, say, I don't know who's small in it, but Austria.
Okay, so let's say Georgia would be a smaller nation. They don't have the rule.
Okay.
So the Georgian lads can go and play in France, in the UK, in Ireland, and they will still be selected. Now, we don't have a lot of Georgian lads in Ireland, but there's a couple of them, quite a few of them in France, and there's a couple in the UK. And as they're a smaller nation, the rule doesn't apply for them. So it's not a general rule. It's a rule that's usually implemented by your particular country to protect themselves.
Okay, interesting. Quick few comments and then we'll finish out with Beat the Bookie. Warren's in at Poker Gambit. Emmy will never sign for that lot. Never in a million years. Money. Ian's back in. Those were the good old days. Morris is back in. Man City could end up there, couldn't they? Absolutely. And Andrew's in the chat. How are you, Andrew? Big shout out to Andrew, Dazzler's son. Hi, lads. How are we? And Ted is
big
in
up
there.
To the boy.
Ted, I'll take 2 World Cups a year if they're like the last one. Absolutely.
100%.
And Ted again, of course, it's a move of greed. They wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't going to make serious cash money. Yeah, but I mean, that's a move.
Absolutely.
I mean, look at the moment what they're doing. They're signing £5 million players at the moment for 50 million and all. Don't get me started on the greed in football at the moment. Acers, looking forward to Super Bowl halftime show. Rihanna, come on. You Eagles would phenom for Philadelphia for WrestleMania 40 next year. Yeah. Phenomenal.
That's what I think you meant. For Philadelphia because of WrestleMania 40 obviously next year. Absolutely. It'd be great for them to be the defending Super Bowl champions when we went in there, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure would.
Yeah. And funny enough, it would coincide not too far off the Super Bowl either. It's only a couple of months after, really.
I won't lie, I don't think they're winning.
Okay. Interesting. We shall see.
I think this has Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes written all over it. The kid is just unbelievable.
But knowing what we know
Unbelievable.
about next year, we're Philly fans, aren't we? We have to go in as Philly fans, don't we, this year? For next year. No? Well, we're not going to Kansas.
Super Bowl's going to be on before we get to Mania next year, so we'll have a new champ either way.
Yeah, absolutely.
If they were going in next year, would I be a Philly fan? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But this year doesn't make a whole lot of difference to me.
And a phenomenal stadium. Right, let's round out the show with Beat the Bookie. I picked out 4 bets for you this week. You gave me a slap on the wrist last week over my odds, so I went the other way.
Did you go up?
I went way up, way up.
This is our Yaz moment. The only way is up, baby. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll start out. I have a 4-team. I think they're all away, as if I'm right. The lads in the chat won't agree with one of these anyway. So I went for Chelsea, Brentford, Brighton, Tottenham, and Newcastle. Stretching
5 teams.
5 teams I went for, yeah.
Gotta be 25 to 1.
It's 98 to 1.
98 to 1.
Yeah, because they're all aways. They're all aways.
Okay, 5 aways. I suppose the Brentford one's the big one, isn't it? Like the other 4 are very plausible now.
Yeah, but they are tough games. You got Chelsea, West Ham, haven't you?
Oh no. I listen. I know that. Yeah. I'm just saying the Brentford one's the biggest odds, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Gotta be.
Yeah, and of course we'd always say gamble aware and gamble sensibly. Of course. I went for your one.
Depends what kind of day you're having. If you're having a shit day, just go nuts and fucking wreck it. Like just
yeah, slap that machine up, and of course hit the subscribe bell notification button and drop a like on the video. Your favorite bet, both teams to score and result. So I went for Man City, Man United, Tottenham, and Chelsea.
Man City, Man United, Tottenham, and Chelsea. That's all right.
158 to 1.
If I ever saw a nice looking 160 to 1 shot, that's it right there. Man City, Man United, Chelsea, and who's the 4th? Spurs?
Tottenham, yeah. Spurs.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
Not too bad, sure.
You can have a 10 of me money for that. I'm going to give that.
And I did your other one, the anytime goal scorer, our referee's favourite one as well. I haven't heard from him.
I love that. Haven't heard from him.
He's busy going through fatherhood again.
He sure is.
Anytime goal scorer. So I went with Salah because he takes the penalties.
Right, okay.
Kane.
Because he also takes the penalties.
Yeah. And your boy Bruno, because he also takes the penalties.
He also takes the penalties.
Tony, because he also
takes the penalties.
There's a theory here, isn't there?
Have we got one more? Have we got the Kayasaka?
No, Erling Haaland.
Does he take the penalties?
Don't think he does.
He doesn't, I don't think. Does he?
I don't think he does, but he's the only.
He scored one earlier in the season against West Ham, I know. That was second day of the season, wasn't it? The first day of the season?
Where he ripped the ball out of Foden's hands.
You know what?
Was that the game where they both scored the hat-tricks, was it?
No. It was the 2-0 game at Upton Park, or not Upton Park, the Olympic Stadium, first game of the season. I was actually at the Brighton game that day. We lost. And then I came out of there, so I was in Manchester, so there was a few bits going on. And then obviously later on that evening, I saw Haaland got in the score sheet and stuff. I was like, Jesus, good job of having my fantasy team here.
Well, it's 4 penalty takers and a beast. And it gives you
4 penalty takers and a beast, yeah, listen.
44 to 1. Not too shabby.
That's all right. Yeah, that's not too bad either.
And then for my sins, I did a bet builder for the Merseyside Derby, which is the last game you want to be doing a bet builder for. But I went contrary to my preview, and I went with Liverpool to win, both teams to score, over 2.5 goals, Thiago to be booked, and Salah to score anytime, 25 to 1. They should be giving me about 60 to 1 on that.
I was going to say 25 is a bit measly on that, isn't it?
It's a miserable one, isn't it? Yeah.
I ain't getting out of bed for that. I'll tell you what, though, I'll throw a tenner at the 160 to 1 earlier on.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
One of your favourite bets, absolutely.
Sure is, you know.
Where are we? Warren back in the comments. Are you going for that all to lose? No, they're all to win. Don't worry, Warren. I'll be on the show on Saturday. I'll drop the bet in there and all. Ellipse is in saying, hey, how are you? And Ian is in. Great show, fellas. Cheers, Ian. And
thank
Warren,
you, Ian.
come on, guys. Hit the like button, subscribe, and put the notification bell on, and share the video far and wide, please. Absolutely. Even if you're watching it on the replay, do all of the above. Share, like, and hit that bell notification button. And do it for all the channels in the chat tonight as well. Warren's channel.
Absolutely.
And Morris's channel and Ted's channel, Poker Gambit's channel and stuff like that, and I'll hit them all up. Share the love far and wide every single time. Another show. We didn't quite hit the hour. We went an hour and 10. Not too bad because they had been longer.
It's a quiet night at the office. It's a quiet night at the office.
An hour and 10.
We're doing all right. I might even get a conversation with my wife this evening. You never know.
We didn't get away, did we?
No, Morris. No, Morris.
No,
there's no Mason
Mount
news
whatsoever.
Now,
if you want to
I'm going to bury it like Bray Wyatt buried LA Knight. That's it. It's over.
Mountain Dew, baby. Anyway, if you want to contact the show, it's the upper tier podcast at gmail.com. If you want to contact us as well, we're out there on all the socials, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. We will be back.
And OnlyFans.
We will be back Monday night. We'll have to figure out Monday night, though, because the Merseyside derby is on, and I will be doing a match reaction and stuff like that. So, I don't know. We'll see how we go with
I'm in work either way, so you know me on a Monday, I'm not good.
I might do the reaction to that and pull the house asunder and rip the telly off the wall and everything, depending on how that goes. So, what I might do is I might bump the mash up to Tuesday, so I'll see how it goes. And Ian's in the comments. Watch all the football podcasts and subscribe and support.
Absolutely, Ian.
Guys, we appreciate all your support. We hope you enjoyed the show tonight. I will be back Monday night with a match reaction and player ratings. They're all getting twos if it goes sideways. No doubt I will be crazy. Morris, 10 p.m. game after the show. Yeah, that's my match reaction where I'm wrecking the place. And he wants me to do a duel show. Oh, man, I don't know. Like, we'll see. I'll figure it out in my head anyway. Until next time, folks, an absolute pleasure. Cheers, my brother.
Thanks, pal.